Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is May the 11th in 2026. And yesterday I was talking to a fellow at the YMCA that I see quite a bit, and he's from Ethiopia. And he's aware that I'm doing these talks, and he asked me what I was going to talk about today, and I said, I haven't decided yet. Is there anything you would like me to talk about? And he said, yes, I would like to know about what's going on in the world. What do you think about that? So that's what I'm going to try to address today, is because this planet is our schoolroom. The only purpose for us being here is to learn about ourselves. And each experience is for the purpose of learning a little bit more about ourselves. That's what an experience is for. Now, where the world is concerned, if you can imagine all of our thoughts combined that are given the direction, even though most people may be unconscious of this fact, the world is what's going on in the world that this fellow was referring to, all the chaos and so forth. It is quite simply a reflection of our own thoughts combined. So I don't spend time in the drama of it all. I'll watch a newscast once a day just to keep up with what's going on. But I notice where people are getting caught up over and over in the drama. And they'll replay the drama. That's their means of entertainment, is saying how the drama affects each one. So they exchange this. But I don't participate much in that. I do participate, but not very much, because I prefer peace. And there's not much peaceful to me about listening to somebody complain, or to just knowing that they're caught up in the drama. And if you're caught up in the drama, that means you're missing most of what is, and the reason for it being. So what goes on in the world is a reflection of us. So as we each get more attuned to creating what we want and being sincere about that, and when this reaches a majority, that will begin to take over. But you can clearly see what the majority thought is about. Fear, anxiety, woe is me. It's not funny, but it's amusing in a way, but it's sad for the most part. And you probably know how you came. If you're hanging on to fear and anxiety, you probably know how you came to that, or why you settled in on that way of being. Wars do not start by themselves. And as I told somebody the other day, one fool can't fight. It takes two. Think about that. If each person chooses to, or when each person chooses to live peacefully, then that's going to influence everyone else. And if you haven't done so far, let me just give you this, peacedome.org. go there and download a copy of the Universal Peace Covenant and read over each word very carefully. Very carefully. And if you start practicing what these words represent, then your world is going to change, and you're going to influence anybody you come in contact with that begins to change their world or stimulate a change in their world. You can't change anyone but yourself. And so I like peace, and anywhere that lacks peace, I won't hang around very long. I love my peace. And now, while I'm talking about the Universal Peace Covenant, or that peacedome.org, every morning somebody is inside the Peace Dome reading the Universal Peace Covenant out loud. And at the last count, they're like at 2,200 days, 2,300, somewhere in that range. Been doing it consecutively. And so they're building the idea of peace. And peace has to start. It can only start with each individual. When each individual is peaceful, we will live in a peaceful world. This is the whole 9 yards. So, are you part of the solution, or are you part of the problem? If you're part of the solution, then you're constantly creating something better for yourself, and that spreads out to other people. And if you're part of the problem, you're continually staying caught up in the drama, the woe is me syndrome. And the world operates off of the thoughts of the majority. It's not rocket science. And if you don't see how, or if you don't understand how these things happen in the world, then you need to look in here, because that's where it starts. And you'll see that these things happen because the majority of people are ignoring what is. Not interested in what is. They're just caught up in their imagination, and they kind of know what they want, how they want things to be, but that's up to somebody else to do that for me. So you're missing the point. If you expect someone else to bring peace to you, then you're looking at it backwards. You have to create peace for yourself. I am peaceful. Have been this whole lifetime. But since I studied at School of Metaphysics, I learned a lot more about what it is to be peaceful. And there's some people there who are working to create world peace. And how big the movement becomes is subjective. It will become as big as the number of people involved. And if you can just do this, if you will, once a day, mention the Universal Peace Covenant to one person. And go there yourself and download a copy of the Universal Peace Covenant. Get acquainted with it. Understand what it means. My dad encouraged me to watch at least one newscast a day, and I've been pretty consistent about that. But I noticed where a lot of people are just feeding off of the, not necessarily the news as it is, but the regurgitation of the news by people. Now, I enjoy I can tune in my radio that I've got tuned into the PBS station here. And so I can, usually I like to catch up with the news, and there's a BBC News thing that comes on at 1 o'clock here. And I like it. They'll have somebody commenting on the current situation that has more understanding than most people. And I appreciate that perspective. And I'll see this on the national news as well, the regular channels, when they have somebody that really knows what they're talking about. And I like to watch Face the Nation on Sunday morning with Margaret Brennan. Because they usually have people on there they're interviewing that know what they're talking about. Now, it may be something you agree with or disagree with, and you can at least look at someone else's perspective. And you can see where I get the most out of the explanations when they're using somebody knowledgeable. I get the most out of it when it's not related to politics. But now, many times you can clearly see that it's related to politics because a person talking will conveniently talk from one side of the issue rather than both sides. So they're not speaking truth as they see it necessarily. They're speaking truth as they want you to see it. That's different. And I was taught at School of Metaphysics, and I practice this. Speaking truth as I see it, without being attached to how someone might take it. Whether they like it or whether they don't, that don't need to dictate what I say. And that's why I do these talks, because that's one of the reasons I do these talks is it gives me an avenue to express myself without somebody interfering. And when somebody turns it on to listen to it, I don't know who's hearing it and who's not. I'm doing this for the purpose of when somebody is at a particular spot in their own personal growth that they can benefit from something I'm saying, then their own soul will connect them with this video. That's the way it works, and so I don't I don't need to advertise. That I'm not after being the most popular person or the best liked. I know people will listen to what I'm saying and they'll either like it or they don't like it. But there's a middle ground. If they just think about what I'm saying, they will benefit. And if I can help stimulate a question, and then that's the most important thing. Because the question gives your inner self, the subconscious mind or the soul, the direction, the directive to connect you with the answer to your question. And it will. And the second most important thing is finding an answer to that question. And the third most important thing is next question. And as long as a person is using this procedure, then that person is going to become more self-directed or allowing inner direction to be relevant. And I've had 40 years experience with this, so I know all answers come from within. I may have an experience out here that has me to understand it. that helps me to understand it. But it's my soul that makes this connection for me. So my soul is my mate, not some other person. My inner self is my soul mate. My mate that is my soul. That's what soulmate really means. So whenever you watch the world news, pay attention to what is being said, even make yourself notes, and think about not only whether you like that or whether you don't, but when you catch yourself start complaining about what's something that you heard, stop yourself, say, wait a minute, what can I do about this? And in most cases, I can't do anything about it except offer influence by doing what I know, as Jesus said, go about doing good. It's pretty simple. And if you understand your own importance and give what you have to give, which is, you may have understandings that some other people could benefit from hearing. So talk about what you understand. Talk about what you know. Jesus taught us how to go beyond belief into knowing. He introduced the knowing quality, which is a part of ourselves. But if you're accustomed to saying what should be or what shouldn't be, look within to find more. Ask within for an explanation to something you don't quite understand, rather than just passing it off to say somebody else is responsible. You gain the most ground by taking responsibility for your own experiences. And whether you understand this or not, you create each experience. It's fed by a need. And we're on a mission here. We're fed information on a need-to-know basis. I get what I need to know as I need it. My job is to be still so that I can hear the instruction. And I've learned a lot about being still, and I'm continuing to learn. And I am getting better at what I do. I'm refining the process. I'm refining the process. So let me leave you with a question. When there's something that strikes you as being wrong with the world, ask yourself, what can I do to make a difference? You're either making a difference or you're ignoring the fact that you can. Yes, you're just one, but you can be a group of one. Things start somewhere. And where two or more are gathered together in my name is recognition. My is you're acknowledging what you're learning from your experience. So what that really means is when you recognize the truth, keep coming at it from different ways to see that how it holds up. And when you get to the second or third time, it begins to get stronger, begins to solidify. So you were growing deliberately, or you're deliberately ignoring. As long as you're making a choice, then you have an opportunity to become aware of what the results of your choices are. The world is quite simply what we make it, and it will be here as long as we need it as a schoolroom. So join with the people that are promoting peace so that what you see on the national news will begin to change. I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you.